And welcome back to Nomoi Bay, episode 2. We're back here today looking at getting our Wombat exhibit started. And as you can see, we've jumped straight into our speed build. So today's video, we're going to look at the franchise side of the zoo and setting up a couple of work areas and getting a handle on our quokkas, which are breeding quite heavily. We're going to do all of that after our speed build. And I wanted to start with the speed build today, purely because it's going to be the last long-form speed build that we do with Nomoi Bay, at least for a little while. So I'm going to start using the next episode. We're going to start doing shorter speed builds and probably a little bit more live running of as we build. A little bit more informal as well, because recording these voiceovers afterwards is sounding a little bit informal. So I thought we'd do a little bit, but work it up a little bit. So just talk you through what's going on the screen. So we're splitting our beach with a long path, and this is going to basically house most of our Oceania animals, and it's going to go all the way up to the upper level of the zoo, where you'll then enter our big showcase Australian Outback walkthrough exhibit, and that's going to be in a couple of episodes time. I've got big plans for that one and I can't wait to get it built. I'm practically bouncing waiting for it. I can't wait. However, on top of that, we're also going to be setting ourselves up for episode 3 today, because we're going to use the sides of this path to get the rest of our Australian animals in, and also then going down to the beach, where we're going to do a little walk through the water for our little penguin exhibit, or our blue penguin, depending on which side of that fence you sit on. Now, as we run through it here, I do have a couple of questions for you, and I'm hoping you might be able to help me out here. And that is, once we've done our Australian area, we're then going to head into Asia, or rather, we're going to do a little bit of Indonesia and a little bit of Malaysia and the Philippines and all of that sort of northern Oceania, southern Asia sort of area. And I'd like to know what animals from those sort of areas you feel deserve a place within our resort, within our zoo. Pop it down in the comments below. I have a few ideas of ones I'd like to make, but there's far more than we will ever fit into here. So if there are animals that you don't really see being made in Exhibit 4 very often, I'd love an opportunity to make something spectacular for them and really give them a good exhibit. So pop that down in the comments below. Let me know which ones you prefer, and we can certainly look at getting them done. Now, as you can see on screen here, for our wombats, we're going to make a walkable burrow rather than using the in-game burrows. And that's largely because I tend to find that just watching them through a camera is always a bit boring. I'd rather the guests be able to walk along and see a nighttime shot of inside of their burrow. And I think we've really captured that really well, as you'll see it in the cinematics at the end. We're also getting our first set of fencing, as you can see on the screen there. And we're going to use this fencing pretty much throughout this area, throughout our Australian and Oceania area. I think it fits really well with that Australian outback feel, a bit of rusty pipe, a bit of chains, etc. And these couple of exhibits now, I keep calling them exhibits, these couple of habitats are actually based around the idea of an Australian billabong, which is where a river has been diverted either through erosion or through blockage, and it leaves behind this sort of lake that refills with the rainy season, then dries out. And all 3 habitats that are going to surround this path, the wombat included, are based around this billabong, and we're going to sort of add a very Australian outback feel to them as I guess a taster before you get up to the main exhibit or habitat at the very top of the path. As the episodes go on, I promise you I will start using habitat more. Now, once we get past that, as I say, we're going to move into Asia, but I also want to spend a little bit of time of getting the beach sorted. So obviously, as I mentioned in episode 1, the beach is very much going to be where our guests debark from their cruise ships, and there's going to be restaurants, there's going to be areas they can go and enjoy the beach. You'll probably notice in the background I've started doing a little bit of that. We've got a couple of sun lounger areas. I want to do a couple of tiki bars. I'm going to build a lot of that off screen, but again, if you would like to see it, please do let me know. I don't mind doing a couple of videos on it. There won't be many animals involved, so I didn't know if it was something that's best just done as a background task, or if we dedicate a video to it. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, as we round off the Oceania areas, I do want to do, as I mentioned, the blue penguin sort of walk through the ocean exhibit. We've got the Tasmanian devils to get in here. The platypus I've got reserved because I've got an idea for that I'm going to bring in later on. And then as we merge up, we're going to be doing Southern Asia, Indonesia, and then it will move over into Asia and India. And the Indian animals, I do have a nice big mixed species exhibit potentially up to 7 different species in that one, so that's going to be something to watch out for, which I'm really excited to sort of get in and get working on. And it was actually originally going to be the first exhibit of Nomoi Bay, but I wanted to get the Oceania pack in as it had just come out, and I really wanted to just build something for these animals. Now, as you can see here on screen, we're just starting to flesh out that burrow. You'll notice that there's a large empty building off to the right of here, and that's going to be a very big backstage area in our next episode. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to block it off with a couple of construction boards so that guests can't get through to that area. And then next episode, we're going to flesh out that backstage, and that will have a bit of a knock-on effect to our wombats here. We will sort of bring some of that along and through. So it might look a little bit bare for now, although I have planted it up and sort of decorated it up inside, and you'll see that again in the live walkthrough. But at the same time, it will improve with episode 3, and I've got some big plans for it. What you also won't see on the speed build here is I've also gone through and added a lot of lighting. I made the decision fairly late into the construction of this habitat that I actually want the zoo to be fairly accessible at night as well. So I've gone back over the Quokka Trail and added in some lighting there for the walk through at night. And then this area has also been filled with lights so that it's nice and bright, and it adds a nice bit of ambience. Because the idea would be, if you're coming over here as a holiday, you're more than likely not going to want to leave the second the sun goes down. So by adding a couple of lighting in there, we've brightened that area up. Now, I did go a little bit overboard planting the wombats. I'm not a big fan of the restrictions franchise mode brings when it comes to the amount of plants animals like in their habitat. Luckily enough, because most of these are still within the, I guess, the biome restrictions of the wombat, they're not the fans of the plants we've put in here, but it's not really negatively impacting them that much. So we can get away with it. And I've also made up quite a bit more with decals, so sort of grime in the water and moss and all that around the water's edge, which kind of make up for the lack of plant life that we can get into this habitat for them. And there we go, wombat in there just to check that they're still all happy. Now, as you probably notice again, much like with episode 1, I have gone back and added quite a lot of extras actually with this one. This was probably about 3 to 4 hours worth of tidying up afterwards, and my plan is to sort of go into that a little bit more in future episodes, because I do feel like the habitats do change quite a bit from the speed build to the point where you then see them in the cinematics. But I have gone back in, done a lot of tweaking, a lot of textures. I'm a big fan of layering Planet Zoo's ground textures together. So what you can do, if you turn the opacity really low, you can actually stack them on top of each other, and it gives you a really nice effect where the textures tend to merge together. Right, we're coming towards the end of our speed build now. I'll jump over to the live section and I'll see you there. So welcome to a very rainy post speed build setup. So I'm going to walk you through now where we are, and as you can see here, if I zoom all the way out, this is the wombat habitat that we just built, albeit through the rain. And then you can see I've added a couple of, as I mentioned, sort of lighting into the pathway. So I built these sort of sculptural rusty bar baskets, I guess you could probably refer to them as. I don't really know what we call them, but essentially they are there just to light the pathway up. I also went through and added in a couple of donation boxes. As I said in episode 1, I'm still not overly sure what to do with these donation boxes. I do really want to do something with them and get them just sort of dressed up and looking a bit better, but we'll see. Anyway, let's I'm going to do more of the sort of cinematic shots at the end of the video here, where you can see all of these both at night and during the day. We'll just have a quick look in, see where we got to. Oh, they're not in their burrows. So again, for the cinematics, I'm going to get some custom graphics made for our educational signs here. And as I was saying earlier about that being our construction sign through to that other exhibit, which we will look at in episode 3. Now, onto the more... Oh, there we go. The rain's cleared up. Onto the more managerial side of things. So, first things first. We've got our 3 exhibits here, and that is our blue-tongued lizard, our desert brown snake, and I think also eastern brown snake, and the death adder. So we're just going to set a bit of management on them. So we're going to manage the population. I don't want any more than 1 male, 1 female, and we're going to have them sell off the babies. We don't want to keep those in the trade center at all. Same goes for the other two. I don't want to start building up. So as soon as they start popping out babies, we're going to sell them off. And that'll help us build up our cash. As you can see down here, we've got about 60,000, and I did have to let it run for a while to get that far so that we had enough money to make this area. But the next exhibit, which is going to be this area here and this area here, we don't need that much money for. I'm not going overboard with them. When we come to the penguin exhibit in this area, we're going to need a lot of money. And when we come to the Australian walkthrough exhibit up here, I also want to use the drive-through. So we're going to need a lot of money there as well. Now, we've set those up. As you can see in here, this is the new staff building. There is a little bit of detail I want to do still on it. We've got our water treatment and power down here. And then just inside this building here, we've got our large staff room and large keeper hut. So that's going to give us a keeper hut and staff area for our entire beach set of exhibits, including our trail from episode 1. I do want to set up a work area here, so we're going to do that next. So we're going to go down to our staff. Oh, we'll use the uniforms while we're at it. In fact, no, I'll save the uniforms for next time. I want to go through a bit more and work out some styles. So work zones then. Make a new work zone, and this is going to be called, up here, this one's going to be called the beach work zone. Yep, beach, there we go. And in that, we're going to use the staff room, our 3 exhibits, and the keeper huts, as well as the utilities. We're going to include our wombat exhibit, and we're also going to include our quokka exhibit. Now, the ones up here, which we will be building up into a sort of veterinary hospital for the island, we'll also be able to cover the quokka. But I think these kind of need to handle that as well for now, just so that we know that it's being used. And also it means that if something gets deleted or breaks later on, then we can handle that as well. I'm also for now just going to include the water treatment and the solar for that area. So there we go, made our work exhibit. I'm just going to have a quick check. Is this actually doing anything? Yes, it is. Are you in range of this one? Could you? Could you? No, you couldn't. That's a shame. Oh, and it's raining again. Oh, but it is getting dark, so you will be able to see some of the lights. So let's jump on in. We're going to assign a couple of work zones. So we're going to get both keepers, and we're going to pop them into the beach work zone. I also want to get one of our mechanics. And our only caretaker at the moment. I don't know why we have a vendor at the moment. We don't have a shop, but never mind. I'm going to put one of the vets in there as well, just to make sure. I believe that the ones not in the work zone should still cover this area if need be. But we'll pop them in that way, and at least then they're more dedicated to this particular area. In fact, did I put both keepers in? Keepers. Yeah, I did. Cool. Brilliant. So that's the work zone set up, and that should help us then sort out. Now, the next problem we've got, if we go to our animal management tab, you'll notice that... oh, where are you off? Okay. You'll notice that we have quite a bit of our quokkas. We only started with 3. Just to remind you, episode 1, we bought 3 quokkas. We now have 9. And apart from the fact that some of them are infected, which... Is this because of the water? No, water's clean. So they're just infected. Brilliant. So we've got a problem in this exhibit where essentially we have infected animals, and they're all, if we jump over to our animal tab and literally just link it by the quokka, they've all been born in this zoo, which means we are at risk of getting a bit of inbreeding. So to solve this, because on our big walkthrough exhibit, I do intend on moving a lot of our quokkas over there so we can moderate their breeding. We're going to pop all the males on contraception for the time being. Oh, and they're also now infertile. Brilliant. Well, obviously they are. We've just put... Yeah, never mind. Ignore that. So, while we do that, and I know it sounds counterintuitive, but we're actually going to buy some more quokkas. This time just a couple of males. Because the idea is I wanted to breed some up and then we can offer them out on the open market. Let's have a see. Size, not too good. Yeah, you're in the middle, but you'll be alright actually. You've got some more time in you. So as you can see on the market, there's not many, and the ones that are not great. No one seems to be breeding in franchise mode a load of quokkas. I don't know if it's because they die really quickly or what. They don't seem to be doing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab ourselves. I'm going to grab you. And I'm going to grab you. And I'm going to bring both these guys here. And they can start breeding more. Now at the same time, we're going to take some of our females. In fact, let's do it from this tab. We can see a bit more. And let's have a quick look what we've got. Oh, you're getting on a bit. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is calendar here. Where are you? Oh, you already have a vet. I bet I can't trade you out, can I? No. That's a shame. So I think what we're going to do is the ones. Try to think what's easiest. Let's do. So this one here. Get rid of you a moment. You, and I think some of our males, in fact, as well. Let's have a quick look at them. I was going to say, what we'll do is we'll take our younger females and we'll put them up on the market for other people to get. However, we don't have that many. We have a lot of males. Oh, and now we've got a fine. Brilliant. Brilliant. That's not good. Okay, so you're not too bad. So let's box you up. Let's send you to the trade. And oop. So we're going to pop him over to the trade centre. Let's jump back on. Have a quick look again. So it's by quokkas. Think by gender. This guy here. Have a quick look at you. Oh, you're the new guy. Oh, very nearly sent the new guy out. Never mind. So they're the new guys. You in the trade centre. You're ill. You. Let's send you to the trade centre, shall we? Okay. Our two new males are in, and I think that's all of them. This guy's getting on. We'll let this. They die at about 10 years old, so I'm going to let this guy get better, and then what we're going to do instead is we're going to have him come back to the exhibit, but stay on the contraception. Yeah, I'm going to send these two, I think, to the trade centre. And I did see that he wasn't ill on this screen, but apparently he's ill in reality, which is not great. Let's have a quick look what we've got left. So you're getting a vet. You're getting a vet. And you're in the trade centre ready to go. Brilliant. Right. So you and you. I want a quick trade. I want to put you up for trade. So let's pop these up onto the trade. We'll just use the default amount. So hopefully then someone else can bring them into their zoo, and they've got slightly better stats than the ones that are on there. This guy, I don't know why I picked you up. But there we go. So we're going to do that a couple of times, and then eventually once we've got our Australian exhibit sorted, our quokkas can go straight to the Australian walkthrough exhibit and not breed, or rather I'll probably breed them there and then keep everyone in this exhibit on contraception. This exhibit's very much for the guests more so than it is for the quokkas, although I think they have a fairly good bit of life in here. Let's meet our 3 wombats. So actually I bought 2 wombats and then they had a baby while I was busy building, so let's have a quick look at those, find where the baby's disappeared off to. Which is Eureka here. There he is. This little guy. He's very cute. He is very cute. There we go. And then we've got the mother. And then the father, I think, has got a little bit more grey to him. Oh, there he is. Yeah, he's a bit more of a grey or wombat. Very cute animals. Very chonky. They seem to have these sort of zoomies. They're like periods of running around really quickly, which is quite entertaining. When the baby was born, he managed to get through all these rocks and kept ending up on top of this roof. So it has taken a while to make this exhibit completely escape proof. So that's those there. Right, so I'm going to leave that with our live section for now. We've obviously sorted out our franchise parts. Episode 3, we're going to flesh out this area here and this area here. 4, we're probably going to get our sort of coastline sorted, and my plan is also, as you can see here, I've started doing a little bit of the deck chair setup, and I want to get a lot more of this beachfront done, leading into episode 5, where my plan is to either finish off our Australian exhibit with a big massive drive through and walk through experience, outback experience up the top there, or potentially getting our welcome jetty and visitor village set up in this area here. We'll see which one comes through. I'm really excited to build the Australia one. It was a struggle, as you can probably tell from the work between the speed build and where we are now. It was a struggle to stop building after I'd done this habitat. I was really pleased with it. It's a nice little habitat and it works really well for our wombats, but it was more that sort of, oh no, I've got to stop doing it, just so that I can get the editing done and get this video out to you guys. So I can't wait to jump into episode 3, and I really can't wait to get the Australian area sorted. So with that, I'm going to jump now over to our cinematics. If you did enjoy the video today, please hit the like button below. Let me know you enjoyed it. Pop a comment in based on those questions I asked during the speed build there. And as always, if you are enjoying the content, please don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to click the real subscribe button, which is that little notification bell just after it. And I will see you in a week's time with episode 3 as we move on into our double feature exhibit for our next two animals from our Oceania and Australia zone. And I will see you next time. Bye guys. Cesar